his thing is, if we're talking most proven track record on the entire resume, he stands out easily. I mean, he's a legend in Seattle. Yes, his last 2 seasons, they did not get the playoffs. He had a 9-8 year and a 7-10 year, and then was basically ceremoniously allowed to leave on good terms with the Seahawks, because they wanted to switch up. But still, the man, I think, still has one of the best assets the Bears need, which is he's a great guy with handling the locker room. He knows how to build a culture of winning wherever he's, for the most part, gone. I mean, the only example I can even think of is his short time in New England back in the 90s. But even then, keep in mind, we go back to then, he was a Super Bowl coach too. People forget he brought that New England team against Green Bay in the 90s. That team gets forgotten a lot. He's been successful almost everywhere he has gone,
for sure.
Which is why you have to take him seriously. I still fully believe this is a guy that's not I know a few people brought this up, but I don't think many have, where it's we don't want a John Fox end of his own tenure. It's no, this guy seems like he's enthusiastic. He still is uppity about things. He just needed a fresh start, and I think he's been one of the true people that's I want this job and I want to show you how I'd fix this job. And that's when I want to see what happens to him after it. Because you are right. He has a second interview lined up, and it's because it's a recent firing with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Raiders are starting to get their cycle together too, because they had to fire their GM, Tom Telesco. And so they have Carroll. And also apparently now I've read up while we're talking that Ben Johnson is supposed to be slated at some point to talk with the Raiders as well, according to reports. So they're not done with some of these bigger candidates anytime soon. And I think Pete Carroll, again, if we're talking between the Raiders and the Bears, I think he'd rather have Chicago. But again, I think this also goes back to Vrabel.